Therefore, it's a business expense.
Yeah.
We had corn tub. Now we have
Saffron tub. Oh, God.
Saffron shower.
Honestly,
oh, God.
So we'll just put some fans under me with like a ventilated floor, and it'll be like the money grab thing.
Okay, but with saffron? Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be a lot of saffron.
That's gonna be so... Oh, my
So-
God.
Right. $6,000.
I mean,
Patreon,
I guess the
$6,000
good
will do
news-
saffron shower.
I guess the good news for me is I don't have to deal with trying to set up electronics around a water element again.
It's true.
yeah. Now you just have to edit the noise of multiple large fans out.
Figure that out. While I can still talk to the peeps. Maybe we'll make it a
Not
time
while
thing.
not while you're in the saffron tube.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the plan was not to let him out at all the entire stream.
Yeah, and I had to eat as much of the saffron as I could.
I
That
think
wouldn't
you
be
could eat it
difficult.
all.
That
Yeah.
would not be difficult. Saffron is just like the stamens of the crocus flower.
Yeah.
I know way too much about
But if
just
there's
random
enough
shit.
for me to be having a shower of it, there's quite
Oh
a
my
bit.
God, that like we're gonna
Can
have
you
to get
OD on saffron?
no. Well, I'm certain you could.
www.
You can-
blankbodies.
But we don't have
at
Mr.
gmail.com.
Beast money.
There is a lethal dosage of everything, including water.
Yeah.
But like water, you physically cannot consume enough to die for it. You would burst an organ before you drank enough water, most likely.
Well, you can drink too much water because I can't remember the name of the condition where it's like you drink too much water and your cells oversaturate and basically your cell walls will just start bursting and it'll cause like tissue damage.
That's over an extended period of time, though. I was talking about just like having one big go of too much water. That you pretty much
didn't that
just
happen to like some lady that was like at a radio show like drink a bunch of water challenge, one of those like morning zoo whatever the
No, that challenge was to hold your pee for a GameCube, where
Oh,
they
that's
were
what it
in the
was.
studio and they had to hold their pee for like a extended period of time.
That's what killed Copernicus.
Nice.
It would only take 12 to 20 grams to cause death of
Of saffron? How much? That is so much money. How much is convert grams of saffron to dollars USD?
How much does?
Because we
one
accept that we have an
gram
international
of
audience, and the dollar, American style, is not the only currency.
saffron
Not too much.
Hmm.
per gram?
It's about $15 a gram.
Yeah, I'm saying 15 to 18.
Yeah, and you need how many ounces? 12?
Between 12 and 20. So to be on the safe side, if we want to kill me, 20.
Yeah, let's get 20 because you're
25, just to be safe.
Yeah, let's be safe because honestly though, you're a man that can hold his substances.
Generally.
Yeah.
Also, I'm
I
looking
also
up.
burn through stuff pretty quick.
Yeah,
Also,
and
if
how
you're willing to
many-
buy 100 grams at a time, you can get it for $3 a
Okay,
gram.
so how
Oh,
many?
okay. There you
So 100 grams is how many ounces though? Because I'm really tired because I got up early for work stuff and I can't convert from imperial to metric.
Okay, 1 gram is 0.03 ounces.
So 100 grams would be 3 ounces.
Yeah. I could eat 3 ounces of saffron.
Oh yeah, but we need you to eat 20, 25 to kill you.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think you can eat?
Probably. We'll figure it out. Let's find out. All right.
This is the
So-
most
It'd be about 600 grams.
okay.
Little under.
600 grams, and it was how much for 100 again?
Let me go back.
Wait, no.
It was $3 per gram.
For saffron?
Wait, why would
Uh,
it be 600 grams?
yeah.
What are we talking about here? You're saying ounces, you mean?
yes.
'Cause it's only 12
I
to 20
converted.
grams.
It was 600 ounce. Here, so Persian sapphire, 100 grams is $3.75.
Mhm.
That is the equivalent of. I gotta reopen that page now. This is getting edited.
Oh, no, you should leave
Oh,
it.
what? No, us being bad at math is getting edited out of the show?
I don't know if anyone wants to listen to that for 5 minutes.
I
though.
mean, that's fair. I trust your editing skills. To
I think people
cut this down to a funny haha.
I don't think anyone's gonna overestimate our intelligence here if I cut out some of this conversation.
I know, but now I'm invested. I need the
So
answer.
1 ounce is 28 grams.
1 ounce is 28 grams. Okay.
So 10 ounces is 280 grams. So it's about, I'm rounding up, but it's
Okay.
about $375 for, let me see. So that was 100
Wait, we
grams?
need less than an ounce.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I just did it, because 20 grams is 0.7 ounces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you ate that, you wouldn't make it through that box of saffron.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you just try
I
to eat the
would
whole
make
box.
it through.
No, he'd finish it, and then that would be
I would just die shortly after.
yeah.
Well, we don't know how long it takes to kill you. It could be long and excruciating, or it could be really quick. You could
Yeah.
be like taking your third spoonful and just like fall over.
Yeah, I know usually when you're cooking with saffron, it's done by like the threads. So you usually only use like 3 to 5, and you like steep it in water
How
or
long
whatever
does it
sauce.
take
Does
to
it have a
dye
really
from
strong
saffron?
flavor then, I'm guessing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This
Glad.
is talking about reducing menstrual symptoms.
Amazing. It can do that apparently.
The study that he was looking at said it was mostly placebo.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like I've seen like menstruation cramp tea that has saffron in it, and I'm like, I mean, if it works for you, cool. I don't give a fuck. Oh my god.
Okay, so symptoms of saffron poisoning include cramping, bloody vomiting, diarrhea, increased blood pressure, respiratory failure, shock, multi-organ damage,
Oh my god.
bone marrow suppression.
Oh my god. Just turned your blood off?
What?
Oh my god. That's horrifying.
All right, so I got to eat like 4 or 5 pounds of this so that I die as
That
quickly as I can.
Makes way more sense.
Yeah, so I just die as fast as possible from it.
Yeah, you're like, I want to die before it turns my blood off.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
crazy.
so Patreon subscribers, $2 billion, and I'll eat a pound of saffron.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's our next
Meme
step. We
that.
set up a $2 billion Patreon tier. Just wait and see who the fuck does it.
Welcome to 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And hi, and welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop horror role-playing and some other stuff too podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and as always, I'm joined by...
John, did you guys know a medical overdose of saffron is 5 grams and symptoms range from vertigo, jaundice, vomiting, nosebleeds, bloody evacuations, as well as death?
This is Sarah, and apparently we're now a saffron podcast.
It's highly toxic.
This all started because John was like, I got some Christmas money, and I kind of want to buy some saffron just to taste it.
No,
to
he
feel
wanted to buy
fancy.
arrowheads, and then
I was abbreviating the
Okay.
20-minute conversation
I was going to say,
earlier.
to be fair to John, he did not start on saffron. It started with arrowheads, became saffron.
Who knows what kind of journey it was to get there, but...
Speaking of journey, we're talking about backgrounds today.
Background.
Yeah, so a little bit of a get back to somewhat gaming basics. For those of you who keep up on the Blank Bodies lore and scripting stuff, episode 37, we did talk about advantages and flaws. But that was more of like a mechanics episode. So now we're talking about some of the backgrounds as story elements and things you can do to like basically make really easy like plot hooks, and the game will write itself.
Huzzah!
Yeah, because a lot of people are just like, I would like to storytell, but I am afeared. And I was like, fear not. Your players...
We'll storytell for you.
Yeah,
Kind of.
because we're all dramatic bitches and kind of stupid. So we're like,
Yay.
hey friend, please hurt me. Here's a list of things.
Yeah.
Well,
It's the mark of a good storyteller is being able to put your players in situations where you can just sit there and then every like 20 minutes be like, okay, this happens.
yeah.
Or have to play an NPC, obviously.
Yeah, and, helps people feel invested in the dots they've put into their characters on things, and little things that you should note down as a storyteller for, like, quick plot cheat sheets. Which would people want me to make a storyteller, like, cheat sheet, like, template? And let us know, because I have some ideas that I could put together for that. So... that's where we are with this. Content warning is just the regular World of Darkness stuff, / we might be talking about relationships that are uncomfortable, harmful, or dangerous because, sometimes dynamics are toxic as fuck.
And vampires are pretty much always toxic as fuck.
Yeah, because, when you're talking about... basically, will be NPCs that are, like, actually individuals for this first part. Next episode is NPCs as, like, social circles. Cool.
I'm in.
Yeah, you in? All right, let's go. So the first one we're going to talk about is the ally. I'm going to be frank, I don't like how the ally section is written out in the core book. That is a me personal thing. It just jumps around between talk about ally, talk about enemies. It's not well formatted for me to receive the info very well. So if you read that and were fucking confused, you're not alone. It is okay.
Yeah, it is confusing.
Cool. So, basics on the ally is this is a mortal that is helpful and will often do things without quid pro quo. So you can just be like, hey, homie, I need a thing. And they're like, I got you, fam.
So it's like a friend.
Yeah. Friend could be, neighbors, families, coworkers, tons of different options. I need to stop drumming on the table. I'm so sorry. But what is...
The owner of the local archery range.
Yes, that could be an option. Basically, these are mortals that they are people that have their own lives and needs, so you can't show up and just be like, hey, I need help. But if you ask for help like too often, or if the ask is like too big, they might be like, yeah, sure, I might need some help with X, Y, and Z. But overall, they're fairly in your ballpark of trying to be helpful.
Yay.
So, not problematic characters generally. These characters can be tied into wider organizations, but they're not the Institute themselves, which I think is the big thing that separates allies from some of the other NPC options. So you might have somebody who is like a mortician at a funeral home, or a journalist for a news outlet, or a doctor at a hospital, but your ally is not the hospital. You might have influence in the hospital, and your ally is some doctor or a small group of doctors.
Right.
Which I will note, a lot of these NPC types in the background are listed as this can be an individual or a small group of people. Basically, the easiest way to keep this straight in my head is this needs to be a person or a few people that you can have like regular, actual like text or phone call or in-person interactions with. So if this is an NPC that you're like having an abstract, I would have to email them to make a meeting or file some paperwork and they're lost in the bureaucracy of the organization. I don't think that should count as an ally. That's a different fucking background dot. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit.
Yeah, you have this person's contact info at the very least.
Yeah, you can get a hold of this person. You can call up Mark and be like, hey, Mark, I need some stuff. And Mark will be like, yes.
Right. I just filed for a permit. Can you go ahead and move me to the front of the line, Mark?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hell yeah. Notes on Mark from the book, though. The book does recommend that the ally actually show up in the Chronicle at least once per story, and that these characters don't know that you are a vampire or that vampires even exist. You might have an ally that's like, hey man, I've been reading some wacky theories online. I think vampires are real. And you're just like, haha, Mark, that's crazy.
You silly goose.
You silly goose.
What are you talking about, bud?
Okay, so this is someone like who can help you out, but they're not gonna be like, "Hey, we're gonna raid the Samitsi's house."
Yeah, they're not inside on
grab
like
a shotgun.
Yeah, they're not behind the curtain on like the vampire business, so you gotta have to like maintain some sort of masquerade. However you want to do that, go for it. This is where the fun creativity parts kick in. And this is also a kind of an interesting way to highlight aspects from the vampire's mortal previous life, because if you're more recently embraced, odds are the people you used to fuck with in your real life are still just kind of around. So this is a good way to build story and character without just directly saying, my character was this before Embrace, and isn't it sad? You can let the environment build the story up and make it more textured.
Like a Bethesda game.
Yes. Oh, Todd Howard. You brilliant man.
Nothing hits harder for me than the Game Awards, where they just kept zooming in on him when Starfield didn't get an award.
I mean...
Whoops.
It's a perfectly balanced game. Why would it not get an award? This kind of mortal can be somebody from the mortal life that was like a family, ex-coworker, former classmate, friends, people from church, volunteer colleagues, bandmates, teammates, gym buddies. Have fun.
That guy that
Go wild.
you used to flirt with at the butcher's deli.
Yeah, it just has to be somebody that you can narratively justify having a more substantial, like, friendship or interaction with. So maybe not, like, a random deli guy, but if it was, like, the deli you went to regularly and it was, like, your homie that would, like, hook you up with, like, the good pastrami, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, he knows what's up.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone that you would consider a friend and not an acquaintance, basically.
Okay.
I think that's a good way to put it. Like,
Yeah.
there's friends of Sarah's I've met who I am on, like, if I see them in public, I'd be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, just be like, hi.
But, like, if something was, I needed help with something, I wouldn't call them up being like, hey.
Hey, I have a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the good rule of thumb for allies is this somebody you could call if you had a flat tire?
Okay.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb on them. And if you want to build further onto the intrigue and stuff, this could also be a person that comes from your vampire's mask. So if they have a persona that has a mortal front, obviously you have the mortal front because you're interacting with mortals, so therefore you're going to have people that you fucking talk to and deal with, and probably have some friends that you could call if you had a goddamn vampire flat tire.
And as an
What is that? What is a vampire flat tire?
It's a flat tire that happens at night.
Oh, okay.
yeah, or happens during the day, and now they gotta fix it at night.
So yeah, this could be, a current coworker at a business that you are owning, or you have a city council member because you're working influencing the government, somebody you know from the art gallery, some other club owners.
One thing I was going to say, too, is if you take the time to put allies that tie directly into your mask as an ST, I would probably consider that like a stronger point towards your mask. You know, there are people who can back up your identity. You're not just like an ID card.
Yeah. You're not an ID card with like a half-assed Facebook account. Look, your mask has friends that you can actually do real postings with, so it looks like you're real in the data stream.
Or you're a Nosferatu and you have 13 different accounts that you manage. And they're all
friends with each other. Some of them have dated each other. Some of them have broken up.
There's been some drama, a couple fallouts.
Like 3 of my accounts are in a polycule.
Just imagine a Nosferatu playing like House with a bunch of fake Facebook accounts.
Yeah, it's just basically advanced Sims.
Yeah, I could absolutely see it.
Which would be kind of fantastic. I'm kind of here for it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Nosferatu VTube streamer that just does Sims. And he's just reconstructing not only his haven, but other people's havens to fuck with them in the live streams.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be so good. Anyways, I apologize. But yeah, little note I would have to make things easier for everybody is when you get allies, you're supposed to put them on your relationship map because there are people that exist in the plot and they're supposed to show up in the game. When you do this, it is worth writing a little mortal template for them of just some basic stats. There's a quick cheat guide for a stat pool in the core book on page 185 if you just want to have like a basic block of they're good at these things, they're not good at these things. Here's a hobby or a thing they do in their life. Wham bam. There we go.
Sweet.
Yeah, because once you understand like what these little characters are good and bad at and have some notes of like hobbies, things that kind of round them out a little bit, it'll make it a little bit easier to integrate all of the characters into each other's relationship maps or, you know, find plot hooks or reasons for things to kind of like move the plot along. Mm-hmm. So front loading the work a little bit kind of helps you in the long run because then you're digging through your notes and go, oh yeah, I can just pull this ally out of the fucking plot bucket and go, oh, he's in trouble now. What are you going to do? Mark's in trouble now, guys.
Damn it. Mark got a flat tire.
He's supposed to help me with my flat tire.
In the park where the gangrel are.
And I've pissed them off.
Yep.
Fuck.
What are you going to go do? Are you going to let him just change his tire in gangrel territory right now?
I mean, you have a tire iron. You can really only play fetch once with the gangrel.
Exactly.
Then it's gone.
Exactly. They don't bring it back. It's
no,
just
they don't.
afterward.
It's like playing fetch with a cat. Sometimes they'll bring it back. Usually not.
If they feel like it.
Yeah.
You gonna let Mark change his own tire?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, shitty ally. All right.
Oh, am I his? Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you're supposed to be helping us protect Mark.
Oh, okay.
Though, if Mark was not an ally, he would be an enemy. This is the flaw version of the ally.
Right.
So these are mortals that will work against you for whatever reason.
Because I didn't help him change his tire.
Yeah, now he's pissed.
It's like, God damn it, I've helped you change your tire so many times.
Yeah, why do you think I need your help? I can't do it. That's why I can't help you.
Yeah. So enemies can come from, you know, character backstory. If, you know, the common example is like your character was involved in organized crime, and this is a guy that you used to like have beef with. Now you're a semi-immortal god figure. You still have beef with this guy from the block, though. Good luck.
You can't just off him. He has too many friends and family that knows he has beef with you.
Yeah, because if you killed him, and then the cops are going to come investigating, and that breaks the masquerade.
Yep.
Because you haven't put influence dots in police yet, so you can't fix that. Whoops. Anywho. Yeah, so there's those options. There could be, you know, you have a mask, you're pretending to be a human, you're running a business, and then there is Colin Robinson at the office that you just fucking will never shut the fuck up.
Like,
and you're just
I
like,
want him to die.
Yeah, but he doesn't like you. But instead of like actively doing things to destroy your life, he's just antagonistic. So it's enough to be a problem, but it's not enough that you can actually do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some of my.
Fucks with your desk.
Yeah,
you
those
have a laser
are.
Mouse. He puts like a little post-it note under it without telling anyone.
My favorite NPCs to antagonize, like antagonists, or not the ones that are like, this is a threat, and I clearly know which way to handle it. I just make them a nuisance. I'm like, you guys can decide to escalate this or not. It'll come back though. He'll just keep coming back.
Yeah.
It's like that Kids in the Hall skit about the kid who just won't stop talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh God. Yes, that is correct. Unlike the ally, though, the enemy will appear at the speed and frequency of plot. So if it's more plot relevant for the enemy to show up, they're, guess what, motherfuckers?
It's going to be showing up all the time.
He's going to be showing up all the time. I would make a note about whatever the relationship and actions of the enemy are. It is something that doesn't violate the lines and agreements for things on the table, because that's something that I think sometimes people forget to talk about in lines and veils and consent conversations during session 0. Is like, how far can the enemies go? Because it's World of Darkness, so you can go pretty hard in the paint on just the fuckery that... NPCs can interact with players, and sometimes I'm like, you know what, that's a little too far, that's a little dark, I didn't realize we were in a game of 8mm. I did not sign up for that this time.
Yeah.
So, you know, just keep that little note in mind, just because you're like, oh, well, I mean, these people have all these superpowers, and it's just a little guy, you're like, what, I'm gonna let him go crazy, and I'm like, just...
Dominate's a hell of a power.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Note for the STs. If this is an enemy that seems something that is fun for the table to engage with, make a note and find a way for this to interact with other points of plot with the other PCs. So if you happen to get the golden nugget of making like a good little balanced like antagonist, yeah, find reasons for that antagonist to show up and interact with the other players, like allies and enemies and other characters, so that, you know, fucking what's his nut at the office is an asshole, it's whatever. And it's like, okay, we have to go have this like super secret vampire meeting at the club that somebody else owns, and it turns out that enemy frequents the club, and you're just sitting there like, I hope he doesn't see me. Please don't come see me. I am handling serious fucking business. Oh my god.
Seen you since Friday.
I know. I mean, like, thank God it was Friday. Yeah. So
The pain of that.
Oh god. Yeah. So that's easy things. It's like, you don't have to spend all this time being like, I have to work on all these like craftsman stories. It's like, nah, if you just write something and people like go, oh, that's cool, you just go, okay, pick that guy up and I'm going to stick him to other people and see what the fuck happens.
The secret to being a lazy ST is just actually using the things your players write about their characters.
I know. People love writing like stories for their characters. I'm like, yeah, just use that shit. It's free real estate.
Here we go.
It's free real estate.
Not so free real estate. Retainers. Retainers do not have to be ghouls. The amount of people that are like, it has to be a ghoul. I'm like, no, it does not. This is where you can get some ick. Basically, a retainer is a mortal of some sort that the vampire has power over to maintain their loyalty. So this could be through paycheck, extortion, a romantic manipulation, blood bonds, dominator presence. The list goes on and on and on and on. It can be technically non-toxic, and it's just like, I'm your boss. I just need you to, like, do this, or, you know, you could be homeless. Because capitalism. I'm technically not the bad guy here.
No.
Yeah.
Still not healthy, actually.
No, it's not.
Still not healthy.
I feel like I don't see retainers get used a lot, especially when they're not a ghoul. But, like, when I was playing Ellis, my Ventru, who owned the country club, like, he had a retainer that was just a secretary.
Oh, she was great. Like,
she was just like, you keep the schedule and the books, and, like, all that kind of stuff was like, that's her job, and that's why you're worth 3 dots.
yeah, basically, I went with the non-toxic paycheck route of she's just like, this guy's paying me how many bands to handle this problem and shut the fuck up? Okay, that's fine. So I made damn sure she was good at her job. Because I was just like, you're paying her 8 figures to do what? Oh, okay.
She basically did all the daytime business, which is most of the business at a country club, it turns
she's
out.
like, oh, I get the fun of running a business, but I don't have any of the legal responsibilities or have to deal with the repercussions of I fuck up.
Yeah.
Sick.
I mean, I was maybe scouting her to turn into a vampire
No, you absolutely
someday,
were.
But
Yeah, no, you're doing the proper Ventru vetting. I'm just like, all right, let's see if this bitch can sink or swim. So, yeah, if people want to get creative with their what the retainer is outside of a ghoul, I'm not saying a ghoul is a particularly healthy relationship, but, you know, no, it's not.
It's in one of the games I'm playing right now. I'm playing Alessandra, who now has 2 ghouls.
You have 2 ghouls?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
One that he's had for a long time, and who is loyal and proven his worth very well. The other one, I'm just now taking the time to learn and remember his name. Because I'm playing Alessandra, and he had to prove that he was worth my time to learn his name.
Let's see if you survive the night. Until then, you're spare blood.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no!
Except it was like a month.
Woo!
It's like, if you can do these jobs, then yeah, sure. And then he comes back with like some bonus info that we didn't expect, and I was like, oh, what was your name again? It's like Albert, and I'm like, all right, Albert, good job.
He said my name.
Yeah, all right, right.
Yeah, so retainers. These are characters that will do more for you than a contact or an ally, though this can be lost if there's a better deal that comes along, or if the vampire's behavior to them becomes too toxic or dangerous. So, will a retainer kill for you? Yes. Will a retainer put their life on the line for you? Yes. Caveat, if you don't fuck around too much. Or there isn't, like, a shifty NPC that will show up and be like, hey, friend, I see you got a good situation there. What if I did a little bit better?
I would argue also, or if that was like literally their job. Like if you're like, all right, my retainer is bodyguard. Okay, it's quite literally their job to guard you. That guy also might not like, I'm not running to the fucking store. You go get some goddamn milk. Yeah. But like, I'll stand here. I'll go with you and make sure you don't get shot. But I'm not going to the grocery store for you.
Right. I'm not your gopher.
Like and the bodyguard might be like, look here, I'm here to guard your body, but you and all of your friends have submachine guns, and you're going where? This is so above my pay grade. There might be a justification for that where it's like, bro, you're not paying me enough.
Right.
Like, I retired from the military, and I don't do that anymore.
I am done with this.
I said good day.
You said I could only carry a pistol.
Yeah. What the fuck? I've played a lot of ghouls because I just think it's fun, and just the weird residual stress I got from just saying these things. Just being like, you're doing what? And I can't tell you no, fuck off. Just like, you realize how crazy this. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna move on. A lot of retainers are characters that can become a source of solace or become like very entangled in the vampire's life because it's like almost a touchstone. Like they're usually too wrapped up in your bullshit to be actually considered a proper touchstone, but it's somebody that vampires will often be like, this is somebody I can trust because I've broken them mentally and emotionally. I can be a person with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which can lead to lots of really cool, I mean, and by cool, by like interesting story beats and like moral quandaries, and it makes this character a very valuable asset, and this will also be your Achilles heel depending on how vicious the NPCs want to be around you because of this. Because if you have like Reginald, your beloved ghoul that knows all of your secrets to your havens and your accounts and all your dirty business and does all, he's basically your Guillermo. If he's basically your Guillermo...
Don't let him out of the house.
You can't leave him alone because he knows all your shit. Like, other people are going to come around and be like, hey, Guillermo, I'll actually embrace you. Like, just give me the deets. Just give me the deets,
I'll do it right now.
Yeah, like, I'm Nandor, but hotter. Which I know, impossible. But... And that's a thing you could just, as a storyteller, needle people with. Just being like, well, I see you've been neglecting your retainer there. Interesting. What if they just, like, don't show up for some things? And let's see how long it takes for the player to notice. And then, oh no! Their beloved retainer might be being held hostage by somebody else in the game.
He better be being held hostage. If he didn't fucking show up when he's supposed to, he's gonna wish he was held hostage.
Just have to go rescue him. It's like, you were late picking up the dry cleaning.
It's like, you just killed 12 people. And he's like, yeah, no, go get my suit.
Because I have to clean this one now, too. Fantastic. It isn't uncommon for vampires to have several sets of servants or helpers or however, and you can spread this out between your herd. Watchmen, which is a perk from havens that you can get that involve security people, allies, and multiple retainers.
Nice.
Yeah. So a retainer could be the head of security, with the staff being various skilled mortals that go along with the watchman dots, because I think the watchman dots gives you 1 gifted mortal and like 4 like regular mortals for each dot as a unit of security, which building out those little security squads is really fun and silly. I enjoy doing it, like making little stat cards for them.
Yeah.
Just be like, this is Steve. He got out of prison.
This is Dina. She got out of prison.
Jacob here is just trying to make sure that he can make his alimony payments. You know, you can do all sorts of fun things with that.
Bobby's a student.
Yeah.
College loans, you know.
You know. Your herd actually could just be a bunch of interns and clerks for the company, with the retainer being the head of the department. Tons of different ways you can kind of stack this stuff. because I've seen a lot of people just being like, I have a herd. And I'm like, okay, cool. What are they doing? And there's like not a lot of thought to that. I'm like, guys, if you really wanted to like do cash money shit, you can cheese the fuck out of some of these dots and get a lot of shit done real quick.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just throwing out some seeds for folks and seeing if, you know, things things stick.
Well, it's a two-way street, too. I think when you quantify your herd like that, too, it makes them more of a target. So you're able to get more out of those dots, but it's also something you're putting more at risk.
Right. And it's like, well, if you're, okay, let's just say your herd is, and turns out your company, if you over pull from your herd for feeding purposes, you're going to have less staff because they're going to have to call in sick because they need to, you know.
Anemia.
They've got the anemia and they need the OJ.
Right.
And a cookie. Which is fine, but you're just like, well, I guess my business project's going to take longer because I keep pulling on my herd too much and keep having to pay for all these goddamn sick days.
That's strange. We get free orange juice and granola bars every morning.
It's like, you know, the coffee bar in this fucking office over here has so much, like, protein bars. And
it slaps.
It slaps. It's like, man, they paid for us to get, like, a fucking adobo platter. Hell yeah. There's no memories of being fed on. It's like, man, I didn't realize I was that hungry. Fuck. But yeah, there's tons of logistical ways to handle just having just these tiny armies of helpers and servants and things if you really want to play up the vampire. Like, I'm the lord of a manor, but we don't really do manors much in particularly the U.S.
No.
Various other places. I also
I'm the
never...
lord of an apartment building.
Yeah, I've also never dealt with, like, the kind of money where you can have, like, nannies and maids on the regular, so I don't know how that lifestyle be. I'm gonna be frank. But, you know, have fun with it. There's things
I
you
guess
can
there's
do.
still, like, old plantation houses, like, down south that people could own. Those
Yeah,
are huge and
they're
probably
huge.
need, like, people to help.
Like, professional staff to maintain the quote-unquote historical site.
Yeah.
I'm not saying burn it to the ground. It's fine.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to have retainer, regardless if it's a ghoul or not, definitely make them a stat block.
Mm-hmm.
When you put them on the map, just actually go through the process of making them a stat block at bare minimum. What skills and flaws this character has is going to really establish not only how the character can be utilized, but how the vampire can manipulate and control them. Because you're just like, oh, well, if their weakness is heroin, well...
Luckily, I know a few people.
Good news for you. I can't have heroin, but you can. And I can afford it. So we have a very toxic relationship, my friend. Sorry. It's been a long day for me today. Fucking Christ. All right.
You did what now?
I did what?
Today?
Today?
That would be a long day.
That would be. I mean, you know, he's got so many holes.
It's true.
We'll see if that joke makes the edit.
I mean, it's definitely not... I've definitely cut worse.
Yeah.
And left in worse.
That's fair. That's fair. It's just, we had the holiday recently, so I'm still in the brain of like, this is the time of year where people get upset when I say things like that. Regardless. Retainers can also lead to lots of plot hooks and open doors for plot things, expanding further backgrounds depending on the personality, lifestyle, jobs given by the vampire. So, if you're sending a retainer to go out and do jobs during the day, that's a place where you can farm contacts or influence or, you know, various other things. If you're just like, I don't know how to build out this character to have, like, more connections with things in the city, I'm just like, well, either you can send your skinny ass out and go do the wheeling and dealing, or if you have a fairly reliable retainer that can be, like, your front man or your, like, handler, your agent, or your manager, they can go do all that shit. And then you can just, like, scoop up all those tasty little dots and get your little, like, claws involved in various aspects of society.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So, things you can do with a retainer other than just having them stand there like a weird Alfred, just waiting.
Currently, one of my ghouls has his job is to listen to this podcast.
Oh, God, okay. Why?
Because it's a weird conspiracy podcast, but every once in a while it hits some stuff that's just like...
A little too on point?
That's kind of close. Yeah, so it's now part of his job while he's out doing errands or whatever is to keep up with the podcast.
Oh my God. Does he go to the podcast, like, Reddit board to keep up on the messages, too, just to make sure people aren't sharing, like, actual things?
Probably.
Probably should be doing that.
Yeah, probably. I'll have to ask him.
Also, storytellers. Check in that any of the dynamics that you have with these characters foreseeably. Don't violate the standards of your table, because retainers is definitely an NPC interaction that can go very sideways very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
As I said with the haha light joke of abusing somebody's addiction problems, like a few moments ago.
Yeah.
That's the tip of the iceberg of how bad this can go, guys.
Like, if I was in John's game, I would have to have a conversation, because I can't think of anything worse than forcing someone to be a Redditor.
No!
That seems pretty gross to me.
He could just sit there, creep. What are they called?
That's one step away from
Like
ghouling someone to be a Discord mod. It's just going to get worse.
pretty
Yeah.
bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, if you start ghouling the gooners, awful.
Nothing will get done.
Nothing would get done.
That's not useful.
Well, if you're trying to farm a residence, it is, but that's a
Oh,
whole
no.
other episode that we've already covered.
Blech.
Blech.
Yeah.
Also, for fun facts, if you're a masochist like me, there is room for retainers to actually be player characters. And if that's something that people want to play out at the table, I think it's very fascinating. I think it leads to some very fun stories. There are inherently power dynamics that are unequal, so make sure everybody understands what the comfort levels are and what your tap out signals are if it gets a little too weird.
Yeah,
Mhm.
make sure those players at least have a good rapport. You don't want to have people who've never played a game together do that, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe have them discuss the relationship in advance. Are they doing like a Holmes and Watson, Batman and Robin thing? Or are they doing like a, no, you listen to me,
Yeah, are they doing
and you don't make eye contact?
Yeah, and also make sure you're not playing this interaction in a way that's going to be uncomfy for the other people, because, well, some people will enjoy the Nicolas Cage classic that is Renfield. Other people might find the sexual tension in that relationship kind of icky and not want to fucking deal with that at a table, which is completely valid. So, you know.
Yeah, I would say honestly, most of the time,
Mhm.
you need to worry about the other people more than you need to worry about you. Because you can usually you can just tap out of that kind of situation. Or you don't know what you're going to get into if you're going to make a character that's a retainer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you also don't want to be like,
Accidentally doing
I'm their
weird kink
retainer.
play.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. Or quote unquote accidentally.
Oh, God, that's the word.
Yeah.
Oh, the dark days of Old Worlds of Darkness. Where
Right.
people are just like, no, I'm just their sire. It's totally not like me role-playing my emotions at the table that I have for this person. Not at all. And I'm like, I want to throw you both into the sun right now.
And
I
you're
don't
playing
care.
vampires, so it's doubly bad.
Right. I don't care that you guys have this dynamic. And I wouldn't care if you guys would do this during a game, but if you were upfront about this and used your adult worlds to explain what kind of story you were telling, that would be cool. But the fact that you're tricking me into this makes me mad.
Big quotes around that word, tricking.
Well, I'm the kind of idiot that I will take a lot of people at face value for way longer than I really should.
Fair enough.
It's a fault I have. It's a problem.
Also, so what you're saying is, if you have enough self-awareness to realize that the two-dot enemy you made is based on your stepdad, you should tell your ST that.
Maybe. Just being like, hey, you don't have to get into all of the dynamics of your two-dot stepdad enemy. But no, like for real, hit me out. If you have a catharsis in playing out like beating the fuck out of that guy during a story, or like archetypes based on that kind of dynamic, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. But also, like, don't hide that from people if that's what you're doing, because that's like weird to be like, I didn't realize this game was a therapy session.
Yeah.
I did not agree to that.
Yeah, our official Blank Bodies stance is role-playing is not therapy unless it's run by your paid therapist.
Yeah, there are therapists that can use role-play games very successfully. And I'm not saying you can't have good emotional catharsis during games depending on, like, what kind of stories you tell, but, like...
If that is your main goal with your friends, probably not a great idea.
Probably go talk to a therapist.
Yeah, your friends likely aren't trained, and if they are, you should be paying them to do that.
Also, you probably shouldn't be paying them to do that because that's weird conflict of interest stuff.
Yeah.
It gets messy, and we're not mental health professionals. We are just all mentally ill.
Yay!
We just don't want you to destroy your friendships.
Just keep poking things on the bottom of this table.
Are so tall. Speaking of people who might be tall, your stalker. This is the enemy version, the flaw version of a retainer is a stalker. So basically, this is somebody whose loyalty has been twisted into something dangerous, unwanted affections turned into obsession, truth seekers following your tail, and various other forms of undesirable interference from a mortal.
Yeah, they tend to hang out in irradiated zones collecting scrap, and...
I haven't played the game because I've wanted to read the novel first, and I just keep not having time.
They're very different.
Yeah.
It's different enough that you could play the game and not really spoil the book.
Okay, cool. Because it's been on my short list of, like, fiction novels that I've actually really wanted to read, and I just keep not having time. Anyways, I would recommend, if you can have a stalker, also create a stat block for this character. So you're able to figure out what they're able to do, how they're actually able to interfere, and various ways they're able to, like, needle in with the vampire's business every day. This is the advanced version of the enemy I talked about before, where I was like, they don't like you and they're kind of fuck up your shit. Stalker, you can get into, like, the Glenn Close territory of they're living in the walls of your haven and just, like, boiling animals in the stove and all sorts of crazy, just like, what the fuck? No. Yeah.
Wait, when did Glenn Close boil animals on the stove?
Was it Fatal Attraction?
I don't remember.
I haven't actually seen that movie.
It was a movie in the 80s.
They can
She
stand
had
outside your house.
she had long hair and had a white dress, and I think it was her and Michael Douglas.
I know. I haven't.
Fear?
No.
Who was in Fear?
Are you thinking of Cape Fear? Because that was a remake done
No,
with
just Fear.
Robert De Niro, which would be a good stalker.
That is a good movie.
Just Fear.
Fear, no.
Girl breaks up with the guy, and like he's just like, no, guy's dating girl. Dad doesn't like him. He just beats the shit out of himself and starts like making everybody think that, like, you know, everybody else is hurting him and he's being a weird stalker dude about it.
Oh yeah, that would also be a really good stalker
He's
archetype.
standing in like the driveway, just like punching himself in the chest. That
that kind of shit. Yeah. Also, because of how stalkers can be run very unfortunately close to real life problems, this is also a do check-ins. Do lots of check-ins. Make sure these things don't violate your table things. As somebody who's dealt with stalkers in real life, holy shit, that shit sucks.
Scary stuff.
It's awful when you're just like, I'm just trying to chill in my house and they're just like banging on your doors and windows at like 3, 4 a.m. because they keep sending you dick pics and you're not responding. And it's just like, ugh. It's like, I'm in a house with a machete.
Come on in.
No, do not come in. I'm just like, man, outside the machete, I don't know what else I'm going to do at this point. Yeah,
Same.
It's a spooky time. I don't enjoy it. Stalkers in a game, yeah, that shit doesn't really bother me because it's fiction and it's separated enough for me that, like, it doesn't fuck with me, but it might fuck with other people. And that's completely valid. So, yeah, this is one of those ones where it's like, hi guys, sometimes the mortals are just as bad as the vampires. So,
Yay.
Hooray. Mawlas. And now we're getting into actual vampire NPCs.
Hey, they're pretty cool.
They can be. So, a Mawla is a vampire ally. This can range from a fellow baby bat that you guys are just homies and you guys are going to willing to work together and do stuff, all the way up to a very powerful mentor or sponsor that will aid you in your schemes.
Huzzah.
Fair. I haven't used this one in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I had always thought it more as like a mentor figure than just like another vampire, but that makes sense.
Yeah, the origins of the word Mawla does trace back to Arabic and does kind of have relations to like some sort of mentor, teachery kind of figure. But the way it's used in game, it is a vampire that you have a close camaraderie with, and more times than not, because vampires are assholes and they don't really do friendship traditionally. The mentor, helper, sponsor role tends to be the most common way this shows up.
Okay.
But yeah, technically it can just be another vampire in the city that's like, hey, I've been around the block a few times and, you know, I like your moxie. Apparently this guy's from the 20s.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not? They fucking made Al Capone canon. Jesus fucking Christ. That's a
whole nother book.
That's a whole other book, and we'll deal with him later.
You guys haven't voted for that clan yet, so.
We've already covered the Ventru.
Oh, was he a Ventru?
Yes,
I thought
he's
he was
a Ventru. No, he's a Ventru.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was Hakata.
No, he's a Ventru. It would make sense he was Hakata, but no, he is a Ventru.
Venture grabbed him.
Yeah, I'm just like, yes, maintaining the masquerade, that's an important thing. What are we going to do? Embrace one of the most infamous gangsters on the planet. People are still selling shirts with that motherfucker's face on it. I'm just like, God damn, that was not a good choice, my guys. But what is a good choice is investing in a Mawla sometimes for your character if it narratively makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the book mentions that the Mawla does not have to be an individual vampire. It can be a small group with like leaders in a chantry or an enclave of anarchs. You can kind of get creative with it.
Oh, that's cool. So if you did like 5 dots, you could be like, I have a chantry, and here my 5 dot Mawla are the people in it.
Yeah, my 5 dot Mawla is like the regent and like the like the top 5 people in the local chantry or the leader and like his associates of this cult in the city that's very powerful. The list goes on and on. Somebody in the Warrens that's like a figurehead down there and their homies. You can get it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat. The dot value of a Mawla basically is left a bit nebulous. So you guys can kind of agree at the table how much a dot of a Mawla equates to help. There's like a little rough guide chart in the book where like a 5-dot Mawla is like a prince or an archon. But there's... I have kind of used it as a combination of not only the vampire's influence, but like how invested they are in like helping you out. Mm-hmm. So you could have your sponsor be the seneschal, and I guess I kind of would count that as like a 5-dot Mawla or a 4-dot, depending on how good of a seneschal they are. But if you keep fucking up, the dot could go down over time to kind of represent the they're not as in India because you keep fucking around and
You're causing more trouble than you're worth.
Yeah, the ROI on this is not looking good.
Right.
I know we were kind of fucking around a little bit in our game, but I know I had like Prince Jackson of Chicago.
Yeah.
But also I had like 2 or 3 dots. I think it started 2. We bumped up to 3 throughout the game. I bought points on that, but that was more like he was like, we get along cordially, and like he recognized me as someone worth keeping around in the city.
Yeah, well, like the reason I kept that lower for you guys is because Ellis's thing was outside of Chicago proper. So it's like he is your prince, but like your haven and all of your stuff and all of your business dealings are outside of his domain. So he can't like directly affect what you're doing. Sorry. Yeah. So I was just like, okay, well, I think I'm going to have to bump that down because it's like, you can't be like, I'm friends with Jackson. It's like, bitch, you're not technically in Chicago. Like, the fuck's he going to do?
I had more say over my area than he did.
Yeah, but I kept it, but I was like, having this relationship be you guys are working together and you're not trying to usurp his power. You're just like, look, I have my thing over here and it can work as an extension to build the prestige that you already have. And he's like, okay, I like where this is going. Because that means, he's basically building out Chicago's, like, domain and infrastructure, but, like, he's not having to run it. He's not having to drop all the investment in it. Like,
the risk's not on him.
Yeah, you're handling all that shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you guys had, like, a pretty
Sounds
solid
very
deal.
Venture to me.
It was very... Shockingly, the two Ventures were just like, yes, the business in me sees the business in you.
I put almost all my dots into business and being a tank. So,
which, dude, tank Venture, though, kind of fun. We're just like, look, I don't have to technically be good at fighting. I'm just going to have to outlast you, and I have this bat and a whole lot of free time.
My ghoul is doing my taxes right now. Not going to be done for another 8 hours. Let's go.
So let's go, my guy.
I don't think I ever got to use any of my combat dice because every combat was just like, all right, I'm picking up a tire iron. By the time I got to the person, y'all had shot him like 20 times.
Or hit him with an axe, yeah.
I was trying to get to stuff where you could do that, but you're just like, they got it, man. It's fine.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I think it's more intimidating that the guy with the suit's just slowly walking at them.
With a golf club?
Yeah.
You were unintentionally the most horrifying out of the coterie. Yeah. Continuing on with the Mawla, since this character is a fellow vampire, odds are they aren't interested in sticking their necks out for you as much as like a retainer would. So if you're just like, hey, we're gonna go engage in this combat, here's a submachine gun. Most vampires can be like, why do I give a fuck?
Right.
This is yours problem? Like, why do I gotta...
Unless you can give them a reason why it helps them out too. I mean...
Yeah. You're just like, but we're doing this, for the movement. And they're like, oh yeah, shit, we are doing this for the movement. Hold on.
Yeah.
And even then...
I think they're more likely to help you out in that kind of situation if it helps them out too.
True.
But
yeah,
I mean, you can get a vampire that doesn't like you to help you out with
because we both hate that guy.
Exactly, but a vampire that likes you is much more likely to be like, look, this diet dude really screwed me over. He fucked over this business, and this business. Will you come help me burn his house down?
Yeah, like what's gonna stop him from fucking with your shit?
Exactly.
And he's like, fuck, you're right.
Or they could always even just know, but it's like, no, I'm not walking in there with a gun. But, I can make a phone call or two and get like distract him while you're going in or whatever.
Yeah, I can use my influence to make sure like the police don't show up. I can do XYZ surveillance. I can turn off the power.
That could cut the power.
Yeah. There's tons of ways for this to narratively get, like, jostled around, but most vampires inherently are not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to throw my final death on the line for you, guy.
Mhm.
Like, most are not going to do that.
Right.
Unless you make it worth their while. Which is why I'm like, depending on the interactions with the characters, I have, as a storyteller, allowed people to invest more in a Mawla beyond what their, like, influence ranking would be because they're more invested. Because if you have somebody who has god powers and is also invested in your survival, I'm like, that might be worth more than any of their abilities to, like, influence the city council, frankly.
Mm.
Like, that's some, like, plot-changing shit. So, that's my thoughts on it. Do what you're gonna do at your table. Fuck, where is I? Yeah, but considering that, if you push a Mawla too hard on being like, hey, I need your help, hey, I need your help, hey, I need your help, daddy, please, I need your help, it's gonna piss them off, and they're not gonna fuck with you.
I don't like you anymore.
They're just like, I was here to help you, not do the work for you. I don't know why you think I'm a mortal character and that this is allowed. You're crazy. So if you have small issues with them, these can be smoothed out over time. You could, like, temporarily remove Mawla dots to represent the, hey, you've done some fuckery, you've rustled their jimmies. We're gonna go from a 3 to a 2 for a few sessions until you guys kind of get this resolved.
Since you didn't go help change a tire.
Yeah, you left them stranded. They had to sleep in the trunk. They're pissed at you.
Their car got towed. They had to figure out what tow company they were literally in.
Yeah. So they could get their ghoul to get the car towed out, but they had to wait till business hours, so they spent 2 nights at the trunk. It was a whole nightmare.
They are pissed.
Because they had the flaw where they can't be in places unless they're invited, and they were only invited under the auspices of being in the car. Once they stepped out of the car, they were in a car lot. They weren't invited anymore. They couldn't leave. Mythic flaws.
Yay!
Sometimes you can get really squirrely with the I have to be invited rules.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like, well, it's not a public land, it's a private business, and if they didn't know I was in here, I guess I technically wasn't invited, but they towed me in this vehicle. Oh, fuck. Anyways. If the plot pushes the Mawla to sever ties because you fucked up too much, some sort of political machinations, an NPC that you've been having fights with, has fucked with the politics and done a great betrayal and blackmail, whatever. I would say it might be a good idea to have a quick OOC chat about where their narrative is going to go from there, because losing a Mawla is kind of narratively a big kick in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an NPC with superpowers and all of the time to fuck with you.
Right.
So, I would maybe ask the players, like, are you interested in trying to do, like, a redemption arc to, like, fix the relationship? Is this character now a new adversary for you and it's a flaw? Does someone else come and pick the Mawla's position up? Like, the Mawla just, like, leaves, exit stage right, and then somebody else comes and is like, hey, so I see you've been fucking up. I'm gonna pick you up by your scruff. I'm your Mawla now. Is there any other political fallout from this? Because people are just like, oh no, you upset Alex. We liked him, and now he's leaving the city. Fuck you, my guy.
Right.
So...
Damn, you really fucked up Alex if he has to leave the city.
Yeah, it's like, you piece of shit. Now
How dare you.
Now you
Alex
have
is a cool guy.
Now you have other kinds of flaws. Like, you technically didn't lose the Mawla dots that you've invested, but the fallout of this is now you have flaws in other ways that were unexpected. Whoops. So, I haven't played a game where that's happened yet, but I've seen times where I'm like, I might bring that up as a storyteller just to be like, yeah, you've done some heinous shit, and your Mawla's like, hey man, I am a vampire. We are monsters, but that was crazy.
That was gross.
No, I'm gonna tap. I'm gonna deuces, my guy. So, things to keep in mind. Also, this character is a great way to build out the world overall, tie the coterie together, or to build tension in the story. So if you have Mawlas that are like, oh yeah, I'm from some far off country, or I've been to some other city, and I can do lore drops about various information that the players need. It's super helpful, especially if you have games with lots of new players that don't know the lore of World of Darkness.
That's helpful.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
I say also, if you have a storyline where the player's fucking up enough where they have to leave town,
Mm-hmm.
those dots could also be them meeting new people in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone's like, listen, you're new here, you don't know how things work, I'll get you up to speed. Like,
yeah,
they make a friend at the first Elysium or whatever. Mm-hmm. Even if they slowly get those points back,
mm-hmm.
like, that could be a good way to... They're in a city and they're not just like, well, we're going to hide in this tenement building.
Yeah, you could use the coterie dots to buy a Mawla. Or if you want to be a really nice storyteller, gift the players a Mawla and just be a sink or swim. Be like, all right, guys, you're going to have this character for however long this first story arc is as like a backup like pool of resources you can bug. Either you can invest in the Mawla and keep it, or it will fuck off at the end of this story arc.
Yeah, you leave your old Mawla's city and your old Mawla hits this person up. And it's like, I'm invested.
Yeah.
Help them out.
They're just like, they see you at a lazy room, they're just like, oh my god. Oh my god, no. No.
Is that guy?
Oh no. They're talking to that guy. Oh, they're gonna get so fucked. Oh, that's just not fair. That's not sporting. Hold on. I need
to
to
go take care of this.
Yeah, it's like no. If you wanna shoot yourself in the foot, I'm not here to stop you, but like doing it uninformed is just completely fucked.
I like the idea of it being like forcible too. Like someone come up being like, I'm sorry, but in this city, our Toreador take ourselves a little bit more seriously. We're going to work on this. Like,
are you wearing synthetic fabrics?
Ugh.
Okay, strike one. 2. Just read these people to filth.
Brutal. Love it.
There's a reason why I don't play Toreadors.
Love it.
I am a bitch. But yeah, there's that having some sort of like figurehead that can like rustle the crew together, just be the coterie uncle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Uncle, we need help. And they're just like, God, fuck it, you kids, I need you to stop. I'm so tired, and not because I keep falling into torpor for long periods of time because I'm old as balls.
Because of you.
Yeah, it's like, look, if I don't keep going into torpor, I'm going to go east. And you keep waking me up because you do stupid shit.
I'd really appreciate it if you stopped.
Yeah, I know what's going on over there because I can hear the screams. I don't want to go. Or, you could build tension because it's like, you have this mall and everyone's like, yeah, this character's really swell. And then they start talking to other people in the sweaty and they're like, oh, this guy is...
not so swell.
He is not swell. He's the opposite of swell. He's a fuck.
He's everybody else's BBEG.
Oh, no.
What do we do?
We're friends with the BBEG. Shit. And he likes us.
What does that say about us?
Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, or, there's another vampire that just doesn't like your Mawla, and now you are suffering because of it. And you're just like, I just work for the guy. I was assigned to him. Why am I catching flack? And they're just like, well, you're smaller and it's easier. And they're just like, fuck, why?
It's like when you have that one coworker you get along with, and then you find out that everyone else at work thinks he's a dick. Mm-hmm. But you're like, oh, he's cool to me. I don't know.
He's been chill. Mm-hmm. I bring him a Snickers every day.
Every day?
Yeah, so I don't get shot.
Damn.
Fun size, like a Halloween.
Yeah. I don't want him to get fat.
It's like it's the equivalent of a Snicker a week, but they're in smaller packages.
Mm-hmm. I need to be more scary at work.
For sure. I would also recommend Mawlas get a basic stat block. There's tons of NPC stat blocks and sheets that you're like, I don't want to write a vampire character. I'm like, literally just rip the stats from another NPC and just give it a name.
Done.
Don't worry about it.
Turns out there's a lot of old vampire books with characters in them.
There's lots of new ones now.
Yeah, that's
where
true
there's
too.
NPCs where you'd be like, I see this says that the NPC is Khalid. I'm going to erase Khalid's name. This is Cynthia now.
Done.
Yeah.
There you go. No one has to know I did that.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple books for Old World that I think would translate pretty easily that were literally just books of NPCs.
Yeah, and there's wikis where people have uploaded not only canon NPCs they've made the fuck up.
Yeah, you just look up other people's characters' vampire and be like, and you're in my city now.
Yeah, so
we have NPCs you could use.
We have freebie NPCs that you can just run fucking nuts with, and if you do, please tell us because I want to know what they're doing. Because we've made some weird people.
We've got some good Benny stories.
We've gotten some good Benny. We should have a dramatic reading of Benny stories.
That would be a fun episode.
That would be super fun. But yeah, so that is the basics for the Mawla. There's the Adversary, which is a vampire enemy. This range is very similar to the Mawla, where it can be all sorts of vampires from different stratas.
Giving a fuck all sorts of different fucks.
Yeah, I will give the note of, because this character has full access to the world, the same as any vampire, including your player characters, be aware that they have effects on things that might not be obvious as like the mortal characters, because the mortal characters you can kind of contact trace like who they talk to, what their access is and things. A lot of vampires, you don't know who they know, who knows what, who they've paid off, how long they've been around, who they're fucking with. So if you start collecting vampiric adversaries, that's going to change your gameplay pretty quickly into hard mode. And depending on how devious the adversaries are, it can make the game seem like the storyteller's being harsh on purpose, but like not in a fun way sometimes. Because it feels like that they might be cheesing things in ways to get around just to fuck with you. And it might be like narratively like completely legitimate and it's just stuff behind the screen you can't see. So that's kind of a just gauge your table and see how intense they want that kind of fuckery to be. Because some people just might want the Scooby-Doo like, you dang kids kind of a game. Yeah. And then there's some people that want the Game of Thrones like 5D chess. Just like, no, Red Wedding, end of every story arc. And I'm just like, okay, fine. If that's the game you want to play, sick.
Let's go.
But yeah,
found out Adversaries in our the first season of the game that the three of us are in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fucked with a Toreador elder in the city.
Yeah. I came as an NPC Banu Hakim assassin, just being like, I don't know any of you nor care. I'm just going to fuck your shit up.
Yep. And it's pretty much because we fucked with that Toreador.
Yeah.
He hired a Banu Hakim assassin and a Nosferatu.
Yeah, that was kind of fun because that storyteller was just like, hey, Sarah, so if you're going to play an assassin character and you have these abilities, what are you going to do? And I'm like, this, and this. And he was just like, I did not expect you to go that hard. I'm like, you said you wanted them dead, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you care about the masquerade? And he's like, not really. And I'm like, cool. Because if you said not at all, I could have gotten this done a lot quicker, but there would have been a lot of collateral damage. And that seemed a little too dramatic for you.
Very good.
Yeah. So that's definitely a check-in thing, just to be like, how tricksy do you want the NPCs to be? Because I have had games with you guys where I've had stuff running in the background that I didn't bring up because it's like, well, they didn't dig into it, so they just don't know. But I'm like, there's some unfortunate things happening in the background.
I don't think it's a game that we play if there's not unfortunate things happening in the background.
It's not a Sarah game if you're like, hey, everything's like, it's been tough, but like we're going through it. And I'm like, yeah, just be careful what doors you open, because if you start opening too many doors, people are going to notice you doing that, and then they're going to have thoughts on it. Yay! So, this Adversary is also another great character if you want to do like world building, tying the coterie together, and building tension. But there will be a lot more malice with it as opposed to a Mawla. So, you could have the adversary that just likes to villain monologue. Because we all love a good villain monologue.
That's great to interrupt. It's the best to interrupt those. But then when you're doing it with someone who has, like, god powers, it just makes them mad, and then they monologue longer.
The last game I storytold where somebody interrupted my villain monologue, little did they know I had Dominate 5.
Shut up and sit down. I'm gonna continue.
Oh, no. I made him get on his knees and confess that he had feelings for a member of his coterie, and then I continued.
Aw, that's cute. Well, now they know.
It made I was like...
You gotta shoot your shot, man, you know?
Yeah, I just made it extraordinarily awkward.
Well, yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool, now that I've ruined your harmonious dynamics, bye. It's like, you're not gonna kill us? Why would I? I've been bored. And then they just leave.
Nice.
Yeah, so contacts. Gonna round this out rather quickly.
I think these are the most common. I think I see people take contacts more than any of the others.
Contacts is fan-fucking-tastic. I fucking love contacts.
Yeah, I don't think...
Make your eyes all crazy colors. Some people helps them see.
Yeah.
As an ST, I don't think I've ever seen a player take adversaries ever. Very rarely enemies, but contacts all the time. Maybe one or two Mawlas,
I take adversary almost every time. But I also like hurting myself with the plot, so nah. But yeah, contacts, these are mortals that are helpful to you, but have basically like a looser relationship. They can provide intel, supplies, services, but they will expect something in kind, because, like, they're not the friends you can call to change a flat tire. Like, if you have to call them, you have to, be like, hey man, I'll pay for your gas, I'll do da-da-da. Like, they'll do it, but you're just like, okay, cool. Not only I have to pay for my flat tire, I have to pay for their gas and take them out for lunch. And
right.
So contacts, that's where they sit on the spectrum of things. You can basically think of them also as more traditional NPCs, like you would have in D&D, because most games I've played in other tabletop systems, when you have NPCs, it's like the shopkeeper, the barkeep. Like, people that exist and fill out the world, but they are not emotionally invested in you whatsoever, and they give less of a fuck about what you're doing.
It's that, or it's like when you get into D&D enough where you have like quote unquote followers, it's like that's the guy who tends the horses. He doesn't know what goes on when you climb into that hole in the ground. He's feeding the horses.
I hope he bought a good novel. I'm gonna be in this hole for a while. Ayo. Contacts do also go on the relationship map, but don't feel pressured to write out stats or lore for the contact unless this is just something you kind of like doing. I know there's tons of people that are just like, I have used Obsidian Note to like make these elaborate maps and webs of these worlds and cities that I've built, and I'm like, dude, that's fantastic. I'm too ADHD for that shit. Fuck no. For me, no, I can't do it. But if you can, like, that's awesome, and I think that's wonderful. Don't feel pressured as a storyteller to have to write out deep lore for contacts. More times than not, it's not that important. And if it does become that important, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So, fuck, where was I? Yeah, this is also a great use for the I know a guy homebrew rule. I know that there's lots of other people for, like, D&D and Pathfinder and other game systems that use this homebrew rule. This is a great time for that in Vampire. So, for VTM, I've been experimenting with, I'll gift players a 1 or 2 dot contact at character creation that doesn't have a name, has no where it's from, is just sitting on your sheet. So when you get into a pickle, you can just go, I know a guy, and we can just instantly fill it out for the situation.
Oh, that's neat.
Because I'm like, I can't account for whatever the fuck players are going to do, so you can spend all this time being like, yeah, I have contacts, like, in the police station, or wherever the fuck else, and then you just don't fuck with the police at all. Or you end up being like, oh shit, I'm in this, like, dockyard. Oh, I know a guy who's one of the harbor masters. And you just like, all right, that's my freebie contact now.
Cool.
So.
I like it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good way to build things out and give people reasons to engage with the world that you guys are collaboratively building.
Yeah.
Hooray. Similar to an ally, where contacts can be involved in bigger organizations, but they have to have some sort of personal, person-to-person interaction. So if you write, like, contacts police, your contact is not the police station or the entire city's police. It would be, like, a couple of officers.
It's like a guy,
or a detective of some sort, yeah. But if you just keep it vague of, like, police, and then you're like, oh, yeah, it's Detective Jimenez. Bill Gwuddy. Bill Gwuddy Jimenez.
Oh, no.
That name was a mouthful. Damn. That was that was pleh.
Someone make that officer. We need that we need that NPC.
We need that NPC. Yeah. These characters also can really shed light on various aspects of a vampire's character, which I think is the more fun thing with them. Most people throughout your life will pick up associates from just all sorts of random places, like jobs, coffee shops, repair places, schools, circuit parties, protests, and this is a great way to highlight interest from your character without just flat out saying it. Or your character be like, oh yeah, I know this guy at this gaming shop, and everybody just turns and goes,
why?
You play Warhammer 40k? You're like 90. When the fuck did you get into Warhammer?
Well, I can't...
It's like, well, I was planning Real Wars before. It's very similar with troop movement.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's
except
like, I think
just like a
armors
200-year-old thing. I can't do it with men anymore, so I have this.
The court yells at me if I gather 100 mortals into a park and make them practice formations.
Right.
Apparently we don't fight like that anymore. It's uncivil. So, at session 0, maybe suggest having some members of the coterie know the same contact or having contacts that know other NPCs tied to members of the coterie to give them reasons to, like, have pre-established connections. Even if you're just like, yeah, you guys individually might not have worked together, but, like, you both know Larry from the deli.
Right.
And they're just like, oh shit, you know, okay. And then it gives you guys more organic reasons to maybe, like, interact and, like, help build lore and plot together instead of just being like, why are these 4 asshats talking to each other?
You start building an adversary within your coterie because you realize that Larry gives one of the other kindred the better salami cuts and gives them free pastrami when they come in. That one, the first one doesn't. They get a little bit jealous. You're like, what the fuck? Why does Larry give you the free pastrami? It's like, you don't even need it.
It's like, look, the pastrami's not for me. The pastrami is for my intern herd.
It's the principle of the thing, all right?
No, that's fair.
I leave good tips. He doesn't give me free pastrami. I'm killing him.
You can't kill Larry.
You're right. I can't.
Okay, we've both gotten too invested into Larry now. But yeah, see, having little nuggets of pre-established connections to the relationship map early is basically just going to make getting the game actually rolling and people being invested in shit way easier. Because then you're just like, oh, okay, they already have things. I don't have to sit here and like find some sort of convoluted reason of like, oh no, you guys are all being attacked by the evil Venture guy, because Venture are bastards. I mean, yes, but... So, as the game progresses, if the players aren't investing in gathering more contacts on their own, storytellers might want to consider gifting a one-dot contact as a reward for good gameplay on occasion. They were just like, oh, okay, these guys should be building networks of people to, like, pull resources from. They've not been doing that. Hey, so you see how you, talked really, like, you had that really good little interaction with the bartender there? Yeah, they just, like, give you their phone number. So now you have somebody at the bar and you be like, hey, have you seen so-and-so?
Right.
Yeah. Boom.
Sick.
Good way to start that. It's alternative ways to reward people for, like, doing cool gameplay things outside of just giving XP. You just be like, yeah, you're starting to build your empire of mortals that will eventually die. But, you know, right now it's fine.
I mean, you can pick one or two. Maybe they won't.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Friends forever.
Friends forever.
I will say, if players get stuck in a situation, storytellers can have other background dots spit out a temporary contact, which I think is something that is kind of interesting or neat. So, let's say they have a bunch of herd dots, but the coterie has been having issues with trying to, like, hack into some sort of software network. Someone in the herd could just spit out the contact of, like, oh yeah, no, I know an IT guy.
Right.
And then you guys are like, okay, cool. We have a contact for an IT guy. And how many dots of value that contact could be should kind of correlate to how many dots are in the herd. So if you have 3-dot herd, I might be like, okay, it's a temporary 2-dot contact. It's a one-time use thing. But if the coterie goes, hey, having this IT guy was really helpful, I'm going to go ahead and invest XP in keeping that contact on my sheet. I'm like, oh, look at you, good. Realizing that you have assets on your table.
Yeah.
And now you have your own frohickey.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Fantastic. I will say, if a player or the coterie as a whole gets invested in a contact, offer to let them adopt basically their own Boblin the Goblin and turn this contact into an ally, retainer, or other source of influence. That's always the funnest.
Yay.
So, hooray. So, you might have a person that's like, oh, I have this person as a contact, and somebody else in the coterie has gotten really invested in them. If they want to roleplay and spend the XP on it, it's like, yeah, one person has a contact, and the other person has them as an ally. And then you have some, like, potentially funny or interesting table interactions where the one person's like, hey, that was my friend first. And it's like, friend? Do you know what his birthday is?
Do you know what his birthday is?
Because I'm taking him to laser tag.
Damn.
I know, right?
I barely know when my birthday is.
Look, after 800 of them, you just kind of stop caring.
Yeah, I know, but the mortals care about it, and they get really excited. Also, laser tag.
Laser tag is...
Like, look, I have resources for. What am I going to do with all this money? I know I could pay off his student loans, but fuck that laser tag for now. You didn't even know he had student loans, did you?
Could someone explain laser tag to me?
I know we're not a real country because no one has made a professional sport out of laser tag.
I know.
They need to get some real high quality laser tag gear, man.
Hell yeah.
All the stuff you rent is kind of shit. Anyway.
I'm sorry, I'm just now imagining, like, a vampire front of, like, a laser tag business, and I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
So, to wrap up Pigeonhole dot the end of this, I'm workshopping / have kind of been working on trying to have a flaw version of contacts, because everything else we've covered has its positive version, like allies, and then its flaw version, enemies. And all of these create NPCs. There's nothing like that for contacts canonically. So I came up with this thing called flaw haters, which I think is fun, because I like monkey's paws. So basically, these are mortals that can cause you, but there will be a complication. This character, you might not even know in character is a hater, so you think it's a regular contact in character, but you've bought it as a flaw. So you're like, oh yeah, they can help me out, and then you're just like, it's been 2 weeks. Where the fuck is the thing?
Right.
What the fuck? Why? And they can do various things like slow your progress, upcharge you on services, give you broken and faulty equipment, sell you out to somebody else for a quick buck, and blackball you to other like contacts, allies, other things like that within the mortal portions of the city.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much somebody that's not going to go out of their way to fuck you over. But if you're brought up in a conversation, they're going to be like, no, fuck that guy.
Yeah, like, that guy's a dick. He walking around thinking he's better than everybody else, blah, 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 blah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Similar to a contact. Isn't going to, like, go out of their way to help you, really. But...
Yeah. Like, the hater's not going to go out of their way to fuck with you, but if an NPC were to find out about this character, it would be very easy for them to come around and just be like, hey, man, if I pay you X amount of money, let me know the next time they're around. Or, like, are they seeing you regularly? What's his schedule? Oh, he's having you work on their phones? Like, what's his IP address?
Mm-hmm.
You know. Tons of shit you can do with that, like, that are very nefarious.
Nice.
Thought it was kind of fun. So you can kind of work out with your storyteller what your vampire did to upset this mortal for whatever reason. You could have dumped one of their siblings. You could be using your powers on them. And they haven't quite figured out you have vampire powers, but they've just been like, man, the vibes are like, that guy's a creep. I don't like it. Cops came by after you did business with them last time and had a lot of questions, and now they're just like, this guy's sketchy as fuck. I don't like this. You know, tons of reasons why they're just like, I don't like this guy, this gal, this person, this non-binary fool.
You fucked up their election for neighborhood council.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, man, fuck this guy.
It's like, I was really counting on him to come in clutch and get all those signatures, and you're just like, man, I can't canvass during the day. I told you that. It's like, look, it's like, I understand you work during the day and you're busy and you can't do stuff, but people don't expect canvassing at night. Like, no one's going to answer the door at 3 a.m. to sign a petition. That's crazy. Anyhow, so I broke this down into 1 and 2 dots for the flaw. So the first dot would be they don't like you, which is there will be some sort of complication, and the complication can be something that, like, the intensity of it and what the deal will actually be will be something that you and the ST work out, whatever the need from the contact is. Mm-hmm. And the hater will count as a 2-dot contact. So you're taking this as a flaw, but the resources they can get is the equivalent of 2-dot contact. Mm-hmm. So this is a way of basically getting a contact for free, but there's going to be plot problems with it instead of having to spend XP.
I like the idea of giving, I know you said the I know a guy rule. Mm-hmm. I like the idea of giving players these.
Giving players haters instead of contacts.
Where it's like, you can quickly solve a problem, but it'll likely cause a new problem. Or it's guaranteed to cause a new problem.
Some sort of issue. And yeah, like, especially if it's like the 1-dot hater where it's just going to be, it's not going to be quick. It's going to cost you more.
Right.
It's going to seem fine, but then the equipment is going to, like, fuck up halfway through the mission, you know. Some sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there's the 2-dot version, which is they despise you. Not only is there a complication, an enemy, an adversary, stalker, or some other similar group or character is given a +1 die to all pools rolled against you for a night. This hater counts as a 3-dot contact.
Nice.
So somehow, some way, either the vibes are so strong from this hater that it affects, like, the ethereal plot, or they've somehow contacted other people. Like, word has gotten out about the things in the fuckery. And yeah, just somebody that also does not like you is also going to come and fuck your day up.
Yeah, this is the guy who sells you guns and then calls the person whose house you're going to raid being like, oh, by the way, they're on the way.
Yeah. And they're like, cool, homie, thanks. Now they just got, like, a +1 to defend their, like, place.
Right.
For the entire evening.
Oof.
And I said a night. I didn't say which night.
Oof.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was my attempt at trying to create a flaw for contacts.
That's a tough one.
I spent like 4 hours trying to figure out a way to make this balanced in any kind of way. Because I don't think really any of the other flaws give you an option of potentially having a gain, but I kind of really like having flaws that are these, like, risk reward. Like, there's going to be a problem. You're getting access to a 3-dot contact, which gives you access to resources 4's level of supplies or work at the monkey's paw equivalent of not only will there be a complication, somebody you don't like is also going to get, like, some sort of leg up on you on something. So it's like, is it worth using? Up to you guys. So, yeah, that's the narrative overview of individual NPCs as backgrounds so far. So hopefully this has helped clear some stuff up with how these are written in the books and help people be like, I can connect dots on how to build characters and things.
Yeah, I think most games I've played in don't do it, but I
Mhm.
think this is one of those situations where creating that character map at the beginning of a game is really worthwhile,
Mhm.
especially if you have people investing in any of the above things that we talked about. Like, that's a really good way to start connecting, even if you as the ST make it while the players aren't looking. I think it's a good way to map everything out.
Yeah. Give
Agreed.
reasons for the story to go other than the plot demands it.
Yeah, I mean, like, your butcher might know your chauffeur, but you two don't necessarily know that they know each other.
And they might start talking about the weird shit that we are doing behind our backs.
Right.
Yeah.
So even as an ST, it's worth just making notes about all these characters so you can
Yeah.
start bending your plot around all the players' mistakes that they made building their character. I mean, choices.
Choices. And, because it's one of those, I would much rather narratively get my ass handed to me due to, like, clever planning as opposed to I rolled bad on the dice.
Yeah.
Because that's just, like, not fun. But if it's the villain that's like, hey, so, I have been watching your behaviors, and you're kind of an idiot. And I found out from one of your herd, I don't know if you noticed, a couple of them went missing.
Uh-oh.
Womp womp.
Womp womp, yada yada, led me to your ghoul, which led me to all this information about you, and now I have all this extortion. I need you to do me a favor. I find that so much more like fuck, you got me, god damn it.
Being able to give your players the paper trail instead of just like hey, I know you did this thing.
Like, why do you know this thing? I have vampire powers.
Someone told me.
Who? I don't know. I guess you got to figure it out. And now there's actually like a trail of a rumor that the players could just actually investigate if they want and root out things and then decide, is this contact ally, whoever, worth keeping considering the thing that has happened? And it's like, do I need to crunch those dots and then like rebuild things?
Yeah.
That's a whole campaign right there, guys. There you go. Woo!
I mean, as much as people love the stereotypical Nosferatu information trader, it does kind of suck to throw that at your players with no backing. Just like, oh, they paid a guy. He was watching you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jared, the NPC you didn't know exists, he was standing in the corner the whole time.
Yeah, what could be even spookier is Nosferatu information broker has figured out Larry from the deli, and he's been using Mask of 1,000 Faces to go and buy a sandwich every night for weeks to listen in on your conversations with Larry, and then takes that information and proceeds forward. And I'm just like, fuck. This is why it's important to have Auspex, guys. The most broken discipline power in the entire game.
You don't need Auspex if you can punch hard enough.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
Listen, I'll knock that Mask of 1,000 Faces right off your ugly ass head.
If you could see me,
Whap.
The fans can't see me doing the John Cena
I
thing.
don't have to see you.
That's
if
the
I
thing,
just
though. They
hold
can
on to
always
you.
see you. You just look different.
They don't know because Mask of 1,000 Faces. You just can't start grabbing random, very bland white people and punching them.
fucking
I
can.
guarantee you, Yannick could punch 1,000 faces, and one of them would be correct.
Yes, I'm fairly certain Yannick the Ravnos could just keep punching faces, and eventually one of them will be the truth.
Yep.
He's like, look, see, it's fine. I am a trickster.
Just ignore the rest of the exploded heads behind
The
me.
999 faces behind me were the buildup of the joke, and you're the punchline. Bam! This is first episode for 2024.
Chaos.
We're getting back in the swang
We're
of
getting
it.
to the swang.
We also recorded late today.
We did.
Which
I'm
means
sorry.
it's going to be a funkier day.
It's going to be
Or recording.
a goofy time.
I think it's scientifically proven that when we
Yes.
record later in the day, it is more
It's silly.
dumb.
It's more dumb. Oh my
I mean,
God.
maybe not dumb.
Goofier.
That's a good word.
It's a silly time.
I was going to say idiotic, but that's just as bad as dumb. So goofy. I like goofy.
We're
a little
goofy
silly.
No,
little...
wait, we're not goofy. We have Canadian listeners, and I was told what
Oh.
goofy means over there.
I'm not Canadian.
We're just silly gooses.
I'm like Disney goofy, not Canadian goofy.
That's fair. I like silly goose more anyway.
Yeah, we're just little sleepyheads.
I'm just a little guy.
Anyway.
I'm a little guy that listens to Paralyze.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, good-
Actually.
I like that transition.
That was a good one.
It's a little too late. It's not bedtime music. That's wake me up music.
That was Wake Me Up music. Well, I need to wake up to drive home, so I'll probably listen to Paralyze, who is on Bandcamp, and they to our intro song, and they're good people, and you should give them listens and money.
That's true.
If you want to look and listen to more things that we do, we also have the social medias.
We have an Instagram at Blank
Yes.
Bodies Pod, and we have a TikTok at Blank Bodies Podcast. We've kind of abandoned everything else.
That's
I mean,
kind
they're
of true.
there, but they're mostly just links to those other things.
Go
Yeah.
follow them if you want.
So if you find us on those other social media platforms that we've not been posting, you can talk to us more directly on our Discord, where we have a cool community that does games and shares story things and projects. And
Yeah, if
All
you,
sorts of stuff.
you
Hell
want to
yeah.
figure out exactly when we recorded this, our community is currently having a Chicago by Night discussion group where they're talking about some of the NPCs and lore and stuff about Chicago, and like I think they've been adding all their own Chicago NPCs together to make a list. So there's like an unofficial Blank Bodies Discord like Chicago NPC list for people to throw on their games they're working on, it sounds like.
yeah,
You motherfuckers are beautiful.
Look
On
at
our
you guys.
Discord, y'all are great.
organizing games. I was told that somebody organized a mage game. Like, we've expanded beyond vampire now.
Yeah, there's Mage going on, there's Deadlands going on, there's been some Werewolf. I ran some Call of Cthulhu at one point. There's been all kinds of
Yeah.
games.
Oh, people streamed the Sudbury Devil for New Year's, which I thought was dope.
Yeah, it was fun.
Hell yeah, supporting independent films. Woo! Woo! And if you want to support us while we're doing DIY, independent gaming and research podcast nonsense, we do have a Patreon, and the various tiers give you various access to things, including helping us vote on what the fuck we're doing with the show, character illustration stuff,
Discord titles.
At every level.
yes, show notes, and I'm trying to finish the master research document to share. It is currently, unfortunately for me, at fucking 14 pages of citations for the show. It's taking me a minute, guys. I'm sorry. It's getting there.
Yeah.
And speaking of voting, though, when this episode goes live next week, because we took a month off for the holidays, the patrons are getting 2 episodes of our patron exclusive episode. So every month, you get a free patron episode of the show that I write, and you're doing 2 in January. And they're going to be about the history of vampires needed to be invited into a place.
Hell
So I got
yeah.
some cool like folk tales and stuff. We're gonna read those, talk about them. It'll be a fun time.
Hell yeah, I'm here for story time. Story time.
Story time.
Yeah.
That can be your pre-bedtime episode. You just like listen to a little bedtime story from us
There
and
you
fall
go.
asleep
Yeah.
thinking of vampires.
Yes.
Beautiful. Best thing to fall asleep to.
Or is-
There might be future plans of the bonus episodes also being actual play series.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, we have some ideas, some
Yeah.
thoughts.
Feelings, expressions.
Emotions.
Ew, that's for gays and communists, which I am both of those things.
So to say, I'm one. Kind of.
You're welcome to hang out.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you're a sparkle straight. It's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, you're like, that's acceptable.
I could dig it. Can they be spooky sparkles?
Yeah, they can be spooky sparkles.
All right,
they're
then I'm
they're shaped
down.
like little ghosts.
I'm in.
Hell yeah. Get you Halloween sprinkles.
Boom. We're waiting on me to kiss us out.
Yes.
Goodbye, everyone.
Oh my god, the timing.
I could go take some
Not
pills.
for
Mwah.
Pill time. I'm getting wild.
I thought you were legit.